When we're thinking about health, one of the definitions that I sort of keep in mind is one from a while back. In 1948, here's how the World Health Organization defined health, and I think it's pretty good. They said this: health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And I really like that. I think despite that being, 75 years old now, I'm not sure how well we've done in the West of sort of living that out, but really it's a good definition. One of the components to that is social well being. And I think we forget the value of relationships when it comes to health. We know, certainly, and it's been highlighted over the last few years, that when people are isolated, they don't have a lot of contacts, they don't have social interactions, maybe they're separated from family and friends, that mental health goes in decline, but also physical health does as well. Death rates go up and other things happen. We know that people who are isolated just have more sicknesses, aches and pains, and illness. One of the things that I've tried to equip my kids with over the years is giving them tools to develop healthy social interactions. Part of it's because I love them and I need to teach them that as a parent, but also I know that that will help them in their jobs and in life and be successful at what they're doing, but I also know it's just good health. As we moved back from Africa a few years ago, I realized that the social interactions were slightly different than what my kids had grown up with, and I really wanted them to be able to interact with not only their peers but adults. And I wasn't sure that I had actually done a great job of developing that skill for a number of reasons in them. So I just thought about a simple technique or method that I could teach them, an actual skill, rather than just assuming that they would pick it up and figure it out. I think in this day and age of technology and computers and isolation, that I think we may have lost some of the skills of social interaction, and I think it may be having some effect on our not only our health but other areas of potential success. So here's what I came up with, and I want to share it with you. So they were young, and we needed something simple to figure out what tools we could use to communicate. And I think we had a ball or we had a balloon, and we just got to talking about it. And I said, guys, let's think about this. When we have a ball or we have a balloon, what's inside of it that kind of makes it light and keeps it round and gives it its shape? And we said, well, air. You put air inside of it. So I think we actually even took the balloon and we would bounce it back and forth, just kind of as a visual of what a conversation could be like. So I'd take the balloon and I'd hit it to them, and I'd say, what do you do with the balloon once I hit it to you? You can catch it, you could pop it, you could let it fall on the ground, you could hit it back. I said, imagine that's kind of like a conversation between two people. It's like bouncing a ball or hitting a balloon back and forth. And that's what a conversation or a healthy social interaction could look like in our minds. And I said, well, let's think about this air that's inside the balloon that keeps it floating and bouncing back and forth. So we came up with these three words that I think help remind us. In fact, my kids still remember this even years later. So the A is acknowledge. So when someone says something to you, I said to my kids, if an adult says something to you or another kid says something to you like, I have a pony, or we went to eat last night, A, acknowledge it. You can just make a sound, you can make a noise, you can make eye contact, shake your head up and down, acknowledge it. So that's the A. Now the I. The I is ask a question or inquire. So that's the I. So we acknowledge, next we inquire. So the I is inquire. We ask a question. We say anything with a question. It doesn't even have to be anything that we understand. It doesn't have to be a complicated question. We can ask a who, what, where, when, why question. We can say something like, tell me more about that, or I didn't know about that, or what did you like about that, or anything. Have you been there before? Had you done that before? Just ask any question and then let them answer. And then the R is then we can relate or respond. Relate. So, I also had a similar experience. So we can relate something. And a lot of times what we'll see in unhealthy conversation is you'll see those steps get skipped. So somebody will refuse to acknowledge, they don't acknowledge, or they'll jump right to relate. Someone says, well, hey, I went on a trip, and someone relates back and says, well, but we went on this trip, and it feels like then you're trying to one up them, and a lot of times that causes the conversation to be over, or the balloon gets popped or dropped. So it's a really interesting tool. It's a really fun tool that my family and my kids still remember, AIR. So you got to have air in your ball or your balloon, and that's what keeps the conversation going. So try it out. See if you like it. Let me know how it works.